time, not space. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Hello and welcome to I Don't Know What You're Talking About with Erin and Garrett, a podcast between a married couple where we talk about things that maybe the other person doesn't know so much about, things that aren't necessarily in the ellipse in the middle of our two Venn diagrams of our lives. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Garrett.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm eating cornflakes with ice and drinking a tomato martini. It's quite the pairing.
It's maybe the first time I've ever seen someone eat breakfast cereal and a martini at the same time. I've definitely seen people do like beer and breakfast cereal at the same time. Just from wacky parties we've had in the past, but
this martini also tastes like a garden because whatever the vermouth is, it tastes like sage, and then it's a tomato martini. And so the tomatoes and sage and olive oil, I feel like I'm drinking a garden.
It's very summery.
It's delicious. It's savory and summery with Graza olive oil on top.
Although I feel like you need to mix up the olive oil every time I drink it because I just have one fat glob in the middle of my
I
drink.
like that. It's like
aesthetically pleasing, but I don't know if it adds much to it. I'm just going to get one big olive oily gulp at the end.
I guess you're right. Mixing it makes sense. So we should tell them that we skipped a week.
Oh, yes. We were on vacay.
Yeah, northern Wisconsin on the lake.
I like to call it the North Woods.
North Woods.
I saw a lot of signs that said the real North Woods experience.
Mm-hmm. It was totally unexpected to me. Like, the lakes there, just very different than lakes that I'm used to.
Yeah, Oregon Lakes. I mean, I love Oregon Lakes, but very, very different from... Yeah, well, first of all, there's just so many of them there. I guess fun fact is like Minnesota, like on their license plates say that they're the land of 10,000 lakes, but Wisconsin has like 15,000 lakes.
Yeah, they just don't brag about it.
Yeah, they're not big braggers over there. Or braggers.
Very humble.
Were you
folks in Wisconsin?
Were you taken aback that you didn't hear the Wisconsin accent much? I feel like I didn't get much of a Midwest at all.
Yeah, I didn't notice any accents.
We were staying with a bunch of cranberry farmers out there. A bunch of bog runners. No, it was very cool to see the cranberry farm and learn all about it.
Yeah, like original cranberry farmers.
Yeah, they kind of like started it in that area.
Yeah, and developed all of the technology for harvesting, and it was amazing. I loved it. I thought that the lakes... Well, I mean, haven't spent time on lakes in the South, but I felt like we were in the South. And just like there was like a lake culture that I didn't expect. Like everybody, like all of the dense houses on the lake shores with people like out on their docks having their evening cocktail and waving at the pontoon boats going by, and
big pontoon boat culture out there.
Yeah, and going like we would go slow on these channels between different lakes, and go by people that everyone knew each other. You'd wave at folks. Pull up there was like a bar on a dock that could pull up on and get a drink.
That dock bar gave legitimate like Caribbean vibes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't expect any of that in Wisconsin.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of surprising things about it. Yeah, I just didn't, like you, I didn't know what to expect, but I thought it was a lovely time.
It was beautiful. I love the pontoon boat. Thought that was like magical.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun, just like cruising around and going to get dinner across the lake.
Yeah. Went and got catfish and...
Oh yeah, it was a New Orleans style Southern Cajun restaurant. And it was like, their tagline is it's like the most Northern Cajun you'll ever experience or something like that.
It was delicious.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyways, that's why we took the week off.
Yeah. I did bring a mic with us and a cord, and I thought we might be able to record, but it was just with 2 kids there and like a lot of family. It was pretty nonstop. And then when everybody went to bed, 9:30 or whatever. It was like pretty quiet lockdown hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like even trying to sneak the Olympics in there felt like we were kids staying up late doing something we're not supposed to.
Yeah, and since then it's been Olympics around the clock.
Oh man, yeah. Well, yeah, I picked a great week to hurt my back, is what I realized.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, yeah. Tell them about that. But I also thought of another Wisconsin thing to tell them.
Oh, well, so our son is 1.5, and he's like extremely mobile and loves new things and getting into trouble. And so this house we were staying at is, very like older people style house where there's some knickknacks here and there that really shouldn't be played with, and that they
definitely not toddler-proof house.
Yeah, and that the people there's a place for everything, and everything is in its place, sort of thing. So I feel like I spent a lot of the week just chasing him down and then picking him up and holding him with just my left arm. And also there was some water skiing that happened, and I played a little disc golf. So yeah, when we left, everything was fine when we packed up that morning. But on the drive to the airport, I felt my lower back really seizing up like it hadn't done for a while. And yeah, I've been pretty couched up for the week. But if you are going to be couched up for the week, try to schedule it for during the Summer Olympics and have a Peacock subscription that you tried to cancel 6 months ago but couldn't figure out how to do on the Roku app or whatever. It's not that I couldn't figure it out. It's literally impossible. Like, it's like you got to go to this Roku website and sign in and click this thing. And I click unsubscribe and it's like page not found. And I'm like, oh, this is a scam. I'm paying for Peacock for the rest of my life.
Call the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
Also, we went to a water skiing performance or water skiing competition performance. They do it twice a week there in the summer.
Which is nuts that it's bi-weekly. Yeah. Twice a week, not every 2 weeks.
And it's been going on forever. Like there was some people performing that they're third generation skeeters. The skiing skeeters.
I'm literally wearing the shirt I bought at the show right now, and it's established in 1954.
Yeah. There's so tons of like fun tricks to watch. People doing like 360s around the boat that they were being pulled by, and human towers and
human pyramids. People water skiing on like a stool, like a step stool. That one kid strapped ping pong paddles to his feet and water skied that way.
And a lot of barefoot, which is no skis and people just skiing on the water barefoot.
A lot of barefoot hot dogging.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was great.
I love subcultures. I participate in a few different subcultures, and anytime I stumble upon one where I'm like, whoa, this is way deeper than I thought it was, like, it's great.
Yeah, deep part of their community.
Yeah, which is funny because I got the vibe from some, people that are like, really, you do want to go to the water ski show? And I was like, absolutely.
Well, there's like this, I think that makes sense with subcultures. There's like intrinsic self-consciousness maybe about it.
And a defensiveness too.
Yeah, and maybe you wouldn't see that there would be like an outside perspective that would enjoy it because like it's just something you like grew up with, or I don't know. I can see that.
Yeah. Also, it's that whole thing about if you don't put something out there, like people can't judge it. I feel like I kind of get that way where I'm like, you don't have to come or participate in it in any way, because if I don't force you to go, I'm not worried about whether or not
you're not responsible for if they
exactly
like it or it's on their terms.
Yeah, it's like I don't force people to watch like these screwball comedy movies that I love that I know are a little like not everybody loves, and so then it's like I'm not responsible for you liking it or not.
We played lots of Mexican train dominoes there with the family.
I need to research that name. Why is it called Mexican train dominoes?
I don't know, but it was fun. A good family game.
Yeah. Just intricate enough that it keeps your attention, but also, people of all ages can play.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of good trash talking.
Is your topic tonight about the Olympics? I wondered if we were having Olympics themed.
No. Well, not really. Not yet.
It might change.
Yeah. Well, I had a lovely time with you in Wisconsin. I thought it was a really fun time.
And then it was my birthday.
Yeah, exactly. HBD, Erin.
Thanks.
I felt bad that my back was so out during Erin's birthday because she had to do a lot of childcare and things and helping around the house. So sorry.
It was a great birthday, and we made sushi, homemade sushi, and tomato martinis, and I did get to sleep in.
It's true.
And I had the day off work.
Yeah. Our daughter and I made our annual cake for you, which I think we've been doing that, gosh, for at least 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, a really good carrot cake with a cashew maple, like a cashew-based cream cheese maple frosting that was so good.
It was a vegan cake.
It was delicious. I love it.
I think I can do better. Well, we've come here to the dining room table tonight. Perhaps you can hear our dishwasher running in the background. We usually start it after, but Erin started it for some reason before the podcast tonight. Anyway, I'm not pointing fingers, but
So
we are going to call
because when you mentioned that this would be our dishwasher episode, I was like, "Oops, Garrett started the dishwasher before the podcast." I totally forgot that I did it.
What?
I thought you were just like letting me know that you accidentally started it.
So in your head, you were like, "You're such a dumbass."
No, it's so funny though. It didn't even cross my mind that I did it.
Yeah. No, I saw it running and was like, "Oh, I guess it must be full."
It is.
Yeah, I'm not questioning your judgment. I'm questioning your memory now.
Yeah, I was a little out of it and kind of grumpy tonight.
Yeah, sometimes the kids can be easy to put to bed or they can be not easy to put to bed.
Yeah. But now I'm breathing.
But yeah, like I said, if you can injure your back during the Olympics, pretty fun to be able to watch all the events on replay on Peacock.
That's funny because I feel like we already said this on the podcast, but that the Olympics were on when our daughter was born. And it was like a nice thing to have on when you're stuck in bed at weird hours. And
oh yeah, like waking up at 2:30 a.m. to change diaper and then...
Yeah, so either go into labor or throw out your back during Olympics or any other various activities that make you lay down for a while.
Comas,
yeah.
Oh wait, you wouldn't be able to watch very well.
The Olympics, though, I have so many questions. I think what I really want to know, maybe I should research this for the next episode, is how something becomes an Olympic sport. Because I don't know if you just have to have like a strong like advocacy organization that's like pushing for it and doing the paperwork, or like why are some in there and some aren't? How did why breakdancing and not whatever else? Or why speed rock climbing and not disc golf? I'm not a value judgment on any of these, just like why have some got through and not others?
Well, I actually watched like a Last Week Tonight with John Oliver about this, and there's actually like a whole nother set of games that not many people know about that's like a proving ground before games get moved over to the Olympics. It's called like the World Games or something like that.
Oh, it's like a pre-Olympics.
Yeah, it's
thing.
like its own Olympics, but for like, you know how you think certain sports in the Olympics are like, well, this is a weird sport. Like every sport in this thing is like way weirder than all of that.
Well, and I considered my topic, well, and then I didn't research it, so it's not my topic, but being about artistic swimming, because I agree it's a sport, but it also is just like an art. Like, I don't understand where the line is, and I know it's athletic, but it's a strange thing to judge in the same way as some other sports.
It's extremely athletic.
Yes, I'm not arguing that it isn't.
Why do you hate synchronized swimming, Erin?
It's called artistic swimming now. The name changed.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
So you did research though.
I did. I read the Wikipedia. I did read that there's a lot of rules, like how much makeup they can wear. Like,
Whoa.
there's no costume makeup or theatrical makeup. It all has to be like, there's like weird rules, like the size of their thumbprint of eyeshadow and stuff.
That was my first question, is about eyeshadow, is like how
Yeah.
far up you could go with it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's at the Olympics, but there was just different notes about how different countries have rules about that. And during practice, that they have, through the speakers underwater, the coaches communicate with them underwater.
What?
Yeah.
Sick.
Maybe this is my topic.
All right. Well, we're in it now.
And I was trying to read your point about how, well, I did read that they wear goggles during all practices, just not in their performances. So you were asking about like their eyes being open underwater and if it's like anything different about, do they put like less chlorine or...
Yeah, I was curious if it's like a full pool of just saline eye drops.
Yeah. Can you swim in saline?
I mean, you can swim in anything, right?
Saline's just salt water. I guess it's just swimming in the ocean.
Yeah. We've swam and sailing together.
But I did not see anything about it being any different water. But I thought it was interesting that they practice in goggles and then do their performances without them.
That is interesting. Did you think they wear like contacts?
No.
Oh, is that worse? You're a contact wearer?
It is definitely worse. Yeah, if you open your eyes underwater with contacts, you can sometimes get away with it and kind of blink them enough when you come out of the water
keep them in your
to
skull.
keep them in. But it's very possible that if you were like fully swimming with your eyes open underwater, you would lose them.
All right.
Yeah. But my point is that, I think synchronized swimming has been around in the Olympics for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not that I'm saying like, how did that get in recently, but it's just interesting how what they're like, the creativity of what they're judging. But maybe it's not. It's similar to a lot of gymnastics movements and flips and
especially gymnastics floor routines.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of artsy mixed with the technical there.
Which I agree with you. I don't like. Like, just do the technical.
Yeah, I was making the point that, like, when it comes to the floor routine, I could maybe do without the, like, kind of little swishy dance moves that they do in between, like, a triple somersault flip thing. Like, just line up and do the cool flips.
Yeah, that would make so much more sense. Like, that's the skill set why that person's an Olympian.
I was just thinking if I was like a badass gymnast that could do crazy flips, they were like, also, you're going to have to work on your jazz hands. And I'm like, did you not see what I just did? Like, I would be bummed.
Yeah. So maybe artistic swimming is not that far off from, it's like cheerleading underwater or gymnastics underwater or something.
Very similar to cheerleading.
But the high dive, that was fun to watch too. It was wild. Like, yeah, I just can't believe the like handstand flips off the highest.
Oh
dive
yeah,
board.
where they like walk their toes, like heels over the edge and then put their hands down and then get their body to a full handstand, like perfectly still.
And
like
then flip from that. How would you even get momentum from just flat on the ground on the edge of a dive board?
I feel like if I was just watching a person put their hands on the ground and get to a full, perfectly still handstand, I would be like, well, this is a sport already. Like, we can just judge that because I can't do that.
Yeah, it could end there.
But then, yeah, to like jump off your arms, get height off that, and then tuck your forehead to your kneecaps and spin 3 times and then perfectly enter the water with like a no splash.
And this sound, the dive board isn't bouncy.
No, not at that height.
Yeah. So it's so wild to me that they can get height out of a handstand.
Right.
And any kind of momentum. Like the running dives make more sense to me that you can get that momentum, but the handstand ones were blowing my mind.
Also, I was thinking so much about like that you need a certain body type to enter the water without a splash. And it feels like not fair to me, but then also there's so many sports that are like that, where like, tall people do better at basketball. And
yeah, like a lot of different body types that will you'll have an advantage for different sports. But I wonder if that's true, actually. Like, I think it's true, but it would be interesting to talk to a diver about, like, regardless of your body. I mean, I'm sure there's like a limit. Yes, like your body size would change the splash, but like, is there ways to limit it regardless of body size in the same way? I don't know. It'd just be interesting to hear a swimmer talk about how much that matters versus other factors.
Well, we should definitely reach out to some Olympic divers to see if we can get them on this podcast at some point.
First guest, a high diver from the Olympics.
Our daughter and I, all right, and go. Today with my daughter, no, I did it again. Today I watched Olympic, like not speed climbing, which you and I watched together, which is like fun and impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this other like just lead climbing is the sport that's way more fun to watch, because they built this course of all these handholds up that go up this overhanging cliff basically, and they made it pretty impossible to get to the last handhold. So it's like you get a certain amount of points for like how many handholds you get up the wall, and like there's even half points if you're extending towards the next thing but not there yet. And we didn't see anybody complete it. I think 4 people got to the last handhold and jumped forward and missed it, sort of thing. And it was really, really impressive to watch. And they get like 6 minutes to do it. Yeah.
That's cool that it's more about like their creative route than just like a route to get to the end.
Well, the route is pretty linear. Like there's not a lot of ways to do it. Like there might be some small little things they could do, but.
So it's possible to get to the end, just so difficult?
I don't know. I mean, I watched the world's best rock climbers and none of them got to the end.
But the closer they got,
the more points they got.
So someone could get the gold even if they didn't get to the end.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, none of them got to the end.
Right. I know, but I didn't know if you were watching like the finals.
I think it was finals.
Big final.
Big finals.
The speed climbing was crazy because it was having it was brackets.
Oh, so, yeah. It was like knockout.
Yeah. Having them climb next to each other, and whoever touches the box at the top, wasn't it 1/600th of a second difference?
Yeah, we got into the thousands with one of those rounds.
A 6,000th of
it was
second.
like, yeah. It's just nuts. Like, they had the same time. It was a tie.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, should we talk about our topics?
Yeah, okay. It is customary for us to play a game of rock, paper, scissors. We're going to go boom, boom, shoot. Best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
And winner decides who goes first tonight. 2 scissors. Tie. Ooh, my paper covers Erin's rock. Rock, rock. Oh, Erin's rock crushes my scissors. Have you ever seen scissors crushed by rock? Okay, go. Yes, I covered Erin's rock with my paper. I got in her head with that.
You distracted me. My strategy got derailed.
I'm gonna go first tonight.
Okay.
I didn't prepare much. So I think the time has finally come. You already brought up this topic tonight, and I am going to talk a little bit about disc golf, which I know that you know some things about disc golf.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's hilarious because I play disc golf every weekend with some friends, and I've been into it for the last couple years. But specifically, I'm going to talk about the Disc Golf Pro Tour tonight.
Okay.
Because I am a Portland Trail Blazers fan, but I wouldn't say that I watch every single game and like know all of the players and their stats and things like that. Like I know the, probably top 5 players. And so I watch, when I can, Blazers. And I really, really enjoy it. But other than that, I haven't been like a big sports watcher. But in the last couple of years, I've totally gotten into pro disc golf, watching like on YouTube and things. And in particular, I really enjoy watching the women's pro tour, which is the FPO, the female players open. That's not right. But yeah, it's just been really interesting to me to be able to watch this tour that happens all around the country. So it's the same group of ladies that travel together.
Can you explain the seasonality of it? Like,
yes,
it seems like there's just always a tournament on, and a lot of times you're like, oh, this one's near us in Oregon, or this one is wherever, and I feel like it seems like just this constant games with the same group instead of like what I would think of as like, the basketball season or whatever. Is that not true?
I mean, there's definitely a season to it because there's, in the winter months, at least in the, the US, you can't really play a lot of disc golf. And so it's kind of like February, March, April-ish that it starts. But, in places like Arizona where, it's nice weather and you can start there. But then this tour of women travel together all around the country. And then I think they wrap it up in like October, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just basically based on weather. It's like when the weather's nice.
I see.
And able to play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, never in my life have I learned so many athletes' names and like, I get stoked when certain ones are doing well.
And you watch the men's tour and the women's tour?
Yes, I usually watch the men's tour and the women's tour. But I think I like the women's tour better because the men's tour, sometimes they throw these shots that are so insanely, far that like I'll never be able to throw that far.
Mm-hmm.
Like to put it in perspective, like a lot of the top male players will throw like 500 feet pretty easily. Like I personally on a good day can throw 200, maybe 250 if I'm giving it my all. But
so the women's tour feels more like
it feels
you can put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, it feels more relatable to
Mm-hmm.
me because like I'll watch them make a shot. I'm like, man, if I was really on my game, I can maybe make a shot like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're still throwing way further than me as well because their body mechanics are way better than me. But I don't know. It just feels more approachable for some reason.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the way that it works is that they'll show up to a place, like I think on Thursday, and then they play 3 rounds over a weekend. So they'll play like a Friday round, a Saturday round, and a Sunday round. And they get a combined score for those 3 rounds together.
Is it like cumulative at the end, or is it like, do people get knocked out like as they go?
No, it's cumulative. It's basically like you're playing 3 matches in a row, and then whatever score you have for the combined 3 matches is your score. So a lot of people will get, like 9 under par on their first round, which is really good. And then the next day they'll get 4 under par. So they're at 13 under par for their 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the last day, whoever the best 4 people are, they'll put them on lead card. And then those best 4 people play against each other.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's really fun to watch because I feel like I've never seen, well, I know in all sports there's an element of drama, but I feel like there's a lot of drama sometimes where like, because sometimes people just be on like a crazy hot streak where they just like are doing really well and it's really unexpected. And they'll like overtake these huge names and win a tournament. I'll see people like go into sudden death where they tie at the end where they both make these amazing putts and then they have to like face each other on another 3 holes.
Also, the announcers are fun on the women's tour.
I will say that about the Jomez Pro coverage on YouTube. Like I like the male announcers. They're fun personalities, but I think that the ladies, the 2 hot geese, as they're called.
I thought it was honking geese.
I think it's 2 hot geese.
Oh,
Maybe it's 2 honking geese. I'll look it up.
okay.
I just feel like they're more on it about talking about what's happening.
I just think it's funny. That's always the same announcer, so I feel like those 2 voices are very familiar to me now.
Burned into our living room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like the lady announcers are like more caring. This is like a weird way to put it, but like sometimes the male announcers are like, and he missed that shot, so we're moving on to the blah blah blah. They're just factual about it. But the 2 hot geese or honking geese are like, oh, she missed that. I wonder what's going through her head right now. Like they
More human.
yeah, it feels more human and like yeah.
It'd be fun to go to one of the games and watch.
Yeah, definitely on my list.
They're nearby sometimes.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 big events that happen in Oregon that we could definitely hit up when they come through. Also, if we want to talk about it, the PDGA had to like make a ruling about transgender people coming into the sport and compete because they do like the MPO, which I guess used to stand for like the male part of professional disc golf, and like the FPO is the female. But there's this disc golfer, Natalie Ryan, who is a transgender woman that was playing in tournaments, and the PDGA decided to enact like these rules about transgender people playing.
Are they allowing her to be on the women's?
They tried to stop her for a while, and Natalie actually had to sue them a couple times to get back into playing these tournaments, and they eventually did let her play in the FPO, the female professional. I should really look up these letters. But from the article I read, it's really just that they were kind of running out of money to fight legal battles. And at a certain point, they were kind of leaving it up to the state they were in. Like, Natalie was like, oh, I can play in, this, like in Maine, but then we go to Kentucky and I can't play there, sort of thing, which is fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Also, they were enacting these rules, which I thought was really crazy, that the Disc Golf Association was saying, well, as long as you underwent hormone therapy before puberty to switch genders, then you're okay to play. And I was like, what? That seems insane. But then they also said something about how in the future, so Natalie eventually sued enough that they were like, all right, you can play. And it's all good now. And, she's leaving it behind her and just enjoying her disc golf life. But they said that they're going to keep a close eye on their rules and try to keep in line with what the Olympics rules are. Bring it back to the Olympics. And I looked up what the Olympics rules on transgender people, and they have a similar rule. Well, first of all, they say it's up to each sport. So each sport gets to decide if transgender people can compete. And the Olympics also, some of the sports have that rule about that you have to have undergone,
Prior to puberty?
Yeah, before puberty.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And talk about like huge access gap of how many kids have access to that prior to puberty.
Right, exactly.
Depending on where they live and family support and access to medical care and
yeah, I was just reading all of it and I'm like, who cares? Just let people play disc golf. Like,
calm down.
Do you have any questions about the Professional Disc Golf Association or the Pro
Tour?
Tour?
You covered them. Let me think. Do they have caddies? Oh, I have noticed a lot of in the women's tour, a lot of their caddies are men.
Yes, I've noticed that too.
That's all.
It's not a question. Yeah, but a lot of people don't even have caddies. They just carry their bag.
And did they do golf carts?
No.
Nowhere?
Not really what I've seen on the Pro Tour. A big fun part about the Pro Tour is seeing all these courses around the country that are just so cool and gorgeous. And that's probably my favorite part of the sport, is just going out to new places you would never have gone to, and you hike around in the woods, and
Yeah, it's like it like encourages you to hike for a couple hours and
right. It involves
spot.
my
Yeah.
favorite two things, which are, hiking in beautiful places and an arbitrary dexterity game where you can think that you're doing well at throwing a piece of plastic through the woods.
And it's a subculture.
Exactly. We're talking about subcultures tonight.
Third favorite thing. How many discs does one throw in a game for these pros?
Do the pros throw?
Yeah, like I know you take out a lot of discs. That's fine.
You don't need to air
I'm
me
not
out
judging
like that, Erin.
you. But I'm curious,
Think I
like,
take too many discs? Is that weird?
is that like for the pros? Do you think they have like, they're like 5 discs or something that are like their key ones, or are they like throwing different discs each hole depending on the conditions and their needs and all the stuff?
They're definitely throwing different discs
Many.
a lot. Like,
Hence needing a caddy.
we don't have enough time to go into the whole disc system of like drivers, fairway drivers, putters, mid ranges, and all these things, and like whether they're understable or overstable, and what type of plastic they are, and things like that. That's a whole separate podcast for another night. But yeah, I think they are using a fair number of discs out there.
Okay.
But it's interesting because like people will get sponsored by a certain disc golf company, and so they play with all their discs, that company's discs. But then there's like certain players that throw only really one certain type of disc from that company, but in different plastics and things.
Mm-hmm.
So it really runs the gambit. There's some people that use a wide variety, but then there's ladies like Owen Scoggins that just throws a Star Destroyer on every single hole.
I think that's all my questions.
Okay.
It was a good topic.
Was it?
Yeah. Especially because they're near here at a certain course a lot. So it kind of, when you talk about it, I picture them there in our local vicinity.
Okay.
Estacada.
Oh.
I always
Oh,
picture
my
that
little
they're-
Kyber?
I always picture that that's where they are.
Yeah. That's where the Beaver State Fling happens every year.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to go watch.
Yeah. I'm curious about how you go watch, like, what the situation is for,
Right,
like...
do you need tickets?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But I think they're pretty cheap. All right. Well, now you know.
Now I know. My turn?
Yeah. What topic did you bring to the table tonight?
So, I was feeling kind of moody, and so I wasn't in the mood to pick a topic. So instead I kind of went with, like, my feelings.
So you're going to talk about your feelings tonight?
No, I mean, kind of. But it was more like what my gut feeling was, what I wanted to talk about. And so it's kind of a weird topic because I don't know I have nothing to talk about it. We'll see. But it's about
Sounds great.
grocery stores.
Okay.
That's my topic.
What
Because,
part of grocery stores?
well, it's kind of, there's some layers. I was like really recognizing this week how at peace I am in a grocery store. Well, and there's a line. Like there's grocery stores that I don't have that experience in. But I love grocery stores, and I was thinking about it as a topic for this tonight because my first 2 jobs were at grocery stores, and I worked at like a kind of natural foods organic store, as you know, for most of high school. A really small family-owned, like little tiny market with organic produce and homemade things.
That place was dope.
Yeah.
Shout
loved
out
it.
to the chicken Caesar salad wraps.
Yeah, so good. And I think I just loved that experience and like love food. I loved working there. But for example, Allison Roman, the chef,
Mhm.
opened a grocery store in upstate New York recently. I think it's called like Bloom Market or
Oh, yeah. I heard about this.
yeah. And honestly, like the idea of like going on a trip to visit this grocery store,
Oh, wow.
and that's where I was like, I really love grocery stores. Like I'm, like the brothy beans that she's selling and the whatever fire, like homemade olive oil tomatoes, or I feel like a lot of passion for it when I think about it. And I was shopping, and we don't have great grocery stores right around us right now.
We do not.
And the ones that are kind of like bring that kind of peaceful, like spend time in the aisles are expensive in this area.
For sure.
Yeah. But I was in one of those this week and was just thinking about like how at peace I am in a grocery store and how I just want to like spend time there. And so I think I should open a grocery store.
Yeah, it's funny because I think about you and I traveling to other countries, and it's like one of our highlights is like,
it's always our favorite thing. Yeah.
hell yeah, let's go to a foreign grocery store and walk around and look at everything.
Yeah, because you get to look at how much more drinkable yogurt every other country has than us.
Oh my God, Erin flipped out in Peru and she found a wall of drinkable yogurt.
They had like a whole aisle of it.
Yeah.
But it's not just them. I mean, yes, they had the most, but I feel like many countries we've gone to,
Right.
people have their drinkable yogurt like figured out.
I feel like it's getting slightly more popular here, but it's still very like niche-y.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, there's like the 4 types of kefir.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. I feel like when I think about traveling, that mundane, like seeing what other countries have in their grocery stores is a huge highlight.
It happened to me in Wisconsin. I went to a little market in this little like vacation town, and I was like, oh, what is this brand of chips? I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
What is ye old Dutch?
Cajun cheese curds we saw there. Smoked string cheese.
Right.
What?
Also, it's
That
fun to see
existed.
some Oregon brands that are out there. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Tillamook and
shout out
Schutt's
Tillamook.
Brewery. And,
Yeah, which is crazy to see Tillamook out in the dairy stage, because that's like, really, you guys couldn't get it done? You need Tillamook out here.
We should cut that. We're going to lose our Wisconsin fans.
But we're going to gain Tillamook as an advertisement, so.
Oh, good point. And we'll gain the Oregon fans.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like there's a need for more small co-op-y markets in this area that have homemade thing, or like that. Like where I worked, like small deli homemade things.
Yeah, I feel like grocery shopping is a bummer sometimes out here in the burbs.
Because of how expensive it is.
Yeah, it's expensive, and it's like not things that we love.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we go to like there's stores that there's like less expensive stores, and it's a mix. There's things that we can get there that we love and need, but it's not like all in one package. Like we don't have a place that has all of the stuff we need. We'd have to go to like 5 different stores to piece it together.
And I feel like this is everybody I talk to as well. They're like, oh yeah, I get my meat from this grocery store, and I get my dry goods from this store, and I get my produce at this place.
Yeah, you need that small town market, and somehow for it to not be so expensive.
I mean, no matter how you cut it, I feel like all food is just getting more expensive these days.
But I don't want to talk about the money part, just how fun food is.
Okay. Well, I'm completely down to make your dreams come true and go on vacations just to grocery stores. I mean, we basically did that when we went to LA and went to Wine and Eggs.
Oh yeah, wine and eggs.
Another very specialty little grocery store. But it was fun. Found like fun mezcal there. There was other like fun drinks and things like that.
Mm-hmm. You just made me, this isn't really a grocery store, but you made me think about, we went to Tulum years ago. It was very popular. It's been very popular for a long time, but I do feel like it's been getting more and more and more so, and it was before that. I don't even know what year was that.
Our first time?
Yeah.
No idea. Wait, no, it was our honeymoon. So this would have been 2014.
And we got there at night or in the evening, and then we kind of like unpacked in our room on the beach and then walked out onto the beach and just kind of walked along the beach for a while, not knowing where we were or just like no context for what was around us or anything. And then we got to a little taco, like some tables where we got some tacos. And then from there, we walked away from the beach to a road that was parallel to the beach, which is like the road that goes along the beach, and started walking down that road. And it was middle of the night. And there was this little tiny like mezcal shop.
Yeah, like
it's like a closet.
Like a boutique liquor store.
Yeah, that was just open magically. And
it was like 11:30 at night or something.
Yeah. You just made me think of that. Just these like magic little market spots. It felt so like without knowing where we were and everything, it was just felt like magic.
Yeah. Is that the same night we saw that dude get honey poured in his eyes?
Yeah.
He wanted honey poured in his eyes. It wasn't like
to fight off an infection.
Yeah, he had an eye infection, so he was putting honey in his eyes.
Yeah, we were staying at this place we were staying kind of an outdoor, like beachy hostel kind of space, but there was a lot of people staying there that said they were part of the community.
Yeah.
And then we started realizing that a lot of them had been there for like 6 months, a year, 2 years. And it was like this kind of commune space.
It had big vibes of like, I don't necessarily get paid, but I get a free room and I help guests here. And like, yeah, we stayed in a palapa, which our Colombian friends think is a hilarious word. But it was basically just like a tent. A fancy tent.
Mm-hmm. The other magical market that we encountered traveling was in New Orleans, when, I don't know if you call it a market, but when we went to Bacchanal Wine.
Oh, yeah.
And I expected that we were just going to a music venue, but you walk into the front and it's like this little cheese shop with wine and cheese, and then you can pick out your cheeses for your cheese plate. But I feel like another like magical travel marketplace.
No, that place is amazing. I love Bacchanal Wine. Yeah, you could choose. It was like a store with wrapped cheeses, but you could pick out cheeses and then they would put it together on a plate for you. And then you go out through the back of this, and you pick out your wine and stuff, and you go out through the back door that opens up to this huge.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it's back there with like string lights and
tons of picnic tables
and lots of space. And
yeah,
you're
music.
kind of like in a garden venue with really amazing jazz music.
Yeah, that was very fun trip.
Those are all of our travel recommendations
that are centered around markets.
Yeah.
There's probably more. I must want to ask you questions about like what your favorite section of a grocery store is, or what your favorite grocery store in general is.
Yeah, because if I'm just like going somewhere near our house, New Seasons, the store near our house that's my favorite is definitely expensive, so it's not ideal to go to, but the experience is calming. But that's not like the ideal store that I want to be going to. Like, I wanted something that has like more of that local.
Yeah, I was almost going to get us to draft like grocery stores in the area, but it's dumb because like you said before, there's no one-stop shop. There's not a perfect one.
Right. People go to Winco and Fred Meyer's and New Seasons and Trader Joe's and Whole Foods.
I kind of like Winco just for the sheer brutality of it. That it's like it's almost like it's a prison of sorts where if you're a newbie, you got to learn the rules of everything. Like they don't take credit cards. You got to bag your own groceries. there's a whole
I
arc.
learned some of those things the hard way because I didn't know they didn't take credit cards.
Yeah, same. That's what I like about like seeing somebody that's like really on their shit at Winco, where I'm like, oh, this dude's been here before. Like, yeah, they bring their own bags. Like, I've got my whole routine down with like, I load up all my items and then I start bagging immediately while the person is still ringing up all the items. And then I'm like watching how close my bar is getting because you can only put your card in when you go back when they're completely done. You can't do it before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like bagging, trying to do a good job of bagging and putting out how many bags I need for the entire groceries and watching. And then I always put like any alcohol at the very end so I can do my ID because they ID 100% of the time at Winco.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge disparity between like quote unquote poorer grocery stores and richer ones about like when they ID. Winco, 100% always.
Mm-hmm.
I've even had the person be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know you're over 21, but I have to ID.
They just have a policy then. That
I think
staff
it's
have
just
to.
a blanket. Yeah. So then like I run back when it's time to pay and like, because people get upset at Winco when you're like holding up the line.
Yeah, there's a flow going. You have to keep things moving.
Yeah. And I almost get that way too, where I'm like, come on, like you should not be doing this right now. Like,
Yeah.
come back and pay for it. Don't keep bagging or.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to obey by all the rules there. Also, open 24 hours. We could go to Winco right now if we wanted to.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's wild.
24-hour places. I feel like it's always interesting the ones that it doesn't fully make sense.
Like a grocery store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, late night makes sense, like close at 11 or something, but I think it's great. Sometimes you do need.
I mean, yeah, there's people that work the night shift and
Yeah.
maybe they need to get some groceries after work or before work. Like,
The Poog podcast women had this whole like joking campaign they were on around how it doesn't make sense that stores are open during like normal business hours. Like stores should be open from like 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. or midnight. People get off work and then go shopping. I think it was kind of funny though. I've always wanted there to be more like night markets or be able to shop in the evenings.
I mean, it's a very like everybody has a 9-to-5 job view of the world. But yes,
Yeah.
I get it. Which is probably true for the majority.
I mean, I think that is a common schedule because a lot of people have that schedule.
Right.
But it doesn't cover service industry at all.
That's why they made a movie and a song about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to go to upstate New York and go get brothy beans and whatever.
I would love to anytime. Love going to New York. Love going upstate. Which is New York the only state that does that word? Like, there's no upstate Oregon or like.
We live in upstate Oregon.
I feel like there's certain states where it makes sense, like upstate Idaho, up in that little like handle up there, and states where it doesn't make sense.
We just had this trivia question when I was on a trip with friends doing trivia the other week that was like, what part of, like, what does upstate New York mean? And it was funny because even my sister who lived there, when I sent her like the options on the multiple choice, was like, it totally depends who you ask. Like,
Oh, wow.
it's just like funny New York controversy. Like if you're someone who lives in the city versus like in these different areas north of New York, north of the city, what is considered upstate?
Do you remember the options on the card?
Sure do. Please pause.
Pausing.
Here we go. I found the picture. Where does upstate New York really start is the trivia question.
Really start. There's already
First
a bias.
of all, these Roku trivia questions are so funny. Like, they're not trivia questions. There wasn't like a right answer to a lot of them. It was like someone's opinion that made it. They were cracking us up. Rochester, anything north of Syracuse, or anything north of the northernmost point of New York City.
I'm going to say, just based off how multiple choice questions are designed, I'm going to say Rochester.
Well, I don't think there's an answer.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
There wasn't like an answer?
Oh, I don't remember. Here, wait, let me look.
I mean, there was an answer in the game on Roku, right?
Let me look.
That'd be a hilarious idea for a board game where it's like a trivia game, but then it's like every answer's like, well, it's kind of a gray area between A and B.
So I sent this question to my sister, and at 11:30 p.m. and I said, "Quick," and she said, "Like, LOL, that's a very controversial topic. Opinions vary." And I said, it was number 3. Anything north of the northernmost point of New York City.
Oh, that was going to be my first instinct.
And she said, that's what I would say, but people from places like Syracuse would say, no way. Or I guess it's the best answer to that question either way, but they would scoff at calling just north of New York City upstate.
I mean, that is kind of ridiculous if you're like 10 minutes out of New York
But
City.
now you're in upstate.
Upstate, yeah.
But I think from like a city perspective, it's very like the city versus upstate. Like you're not in the city anymore.
Sort of feels like bringing sand to the beach. It's all New York to me.
My sister lived in Hudson, as you know, in upstate.
Yeah.
And I just saw that. Was it apartment therapy or something? Whatever that on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
The Vibiest Cities.
Hudson was on there.
Hudson was on there.
Yeah, it's funny. I counted up. I think I've been to like 3 of the Vibiest cities.
It's a really funny post.
Yeah. Well, they were going for like small or like more unknown cities.
Right. Like not all of the not like the Austins and the LAs and Portlands and stuff.
Right.
It was like, what are the more unexpected vibey cities?
Right. Which I feel like they were trying to sneak Portland on there by putting Beaverton. Because, like, I don't know. No shade on Beaverton, but, like...
I don't know if I'd call it vibey.
It's not vibey. Their little downtown is, like, it's doing better. Adopting some of the restaurants from proper Portland. So that's cool that they're almost like Portland.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's definitely... There is a vibe out here.
Well, then it's vibey.
Yep. That's the definition of vibey. Like a funeral is vibey.
Sad vibe.
Depends on the funeral, but yeah. I got asked to DJ that funeral recently.
Yeah, you should.
Should
Put that on your resume.
Oh gosh.
DJ resume.
It wasn't like there's a proper funeral and somebody asked me to DJ. It's like this guy, his wife passed away, and she had said to him that she doesn't want like a funeral type funeral. She wants like a celebration of life where everybody comes and just has a good time and, things like that. So he was asking me to DJ at that, which does sound kind of fun.
Does sound fun. Have you DJ'd anything birth related? I mean, I feel like you need like these different milestones like birth and marriage and death and bar mitzvahs. And
Do I need all those milestones?
Baptisms.
There's like a Pokemon checklist I'm going for DJing.
Yeah. I
have done a military base.
I know. I saw I came across your notes from that the other day and remembered
Really?
that. Mm-hmm.
What did my notes say? Don't do it.
No, like your planning notes that it said you should play Call of Duty music.
Oh, well, that was a request.
Yeah.
They wanted Call of Duty music, and I was like, whoa. So I found like these remixes of like Call of Duty tracks. But then all of that, this always happens with DJ gigs where I spend so much preparation based off what the people tell me that they want, and then I get there and they throw me for a loop, and I think I shouldn't play any of the things that they wanted originally. So I get to the military base, I set up all my equipment, I'm so nervous, getting everything ready to go, because it's like this big field day where all these factions of troops are like, have water balloon contests, and like, they're all dressed in funny outfits. Like they have tutus on over their uniforms and stuff like that. It's like a big fun field day. and I'm ready to play like kind of what they asked for in some of my style. But then this general sees me setting up and he like stares me right in the eyes and is like, all right, crank it up and play some rock and roll. And I was like, that's not necessarily my forte. But I literally just turned on like Apple Music and like searched rock and roll playlists and just started playing, and he loved it. Like it did well for a long time. Eventually I did transition into my other stuff, but I did open it up with some classic rock. Is that a good story to end on?
I feel like my topic that I should add that we have some great like Asian markets out here.
Oh yeah, that's
so when we say there isn't great grocery stores, like we're talking like what's the word? Like grocery stores where we can get all of our items. It's the word I'm trying to think of. But in terms
inclusive.
Yeah, maybe.
One-stop shop?
Yeah. But yeah, amazing like Asian markets. We have 2 Indian markets near us. We have Wajimaya.
I will give Beaverton
H Marts
the tip of the hat on some of the Asian vibes out here, that there's like some fun Asian restaurants and markets and things like that aren't necessarily in Portland proper. I feel like a lot of that is pushed to the outskirts. Like there's stuff on 82nd, and then there's some stuff out here in like Beaverton and Tigard. And
I just found an article that's the best supermarkets in America in Food and Wine magazine.
Okay.
Number 1 is H-E-B, Heb.
Never heard of it.
In Texas.
Never been to Texas.
The second one is Wegmans on the Eastern Seaboard.
I think that sounds familiar, but I've never been.
Wegmans. It's a Western New York institution.
Is that upstate or is that in the city?
But it's been opening up shop everywhere from suburban Boston to North Carolina. There's over 100 now. Hy-Vee is the pride of Des Moines.
Hy-Vee?
Hy-Vee.
Like what happens when you break out in hives?
Hy-Vee.
Oh.
Hy-Vee is the pride of Des Moines with its exceedingly popular home-style prepared meals. The meatloaf might be better than Mom's, and robust community involvement. It's employee-owned. New Seasons.
Wow, that's on there?
Yep.
Damn.
Portland's favorite hometown supermarket chain is not only a kick-ass grocery store stocked with high-quality and often organic products, but it's also something of a gathering place for each community it serves. Yeah, I think that is true.
Did this come out
until it got bought out?
That Korean company bought it? Yeah.
Market Basket, New England.
All right.
It's a cute name. Lidl, L-I-D-L. European Import Market in New Jersey, Georgia, etc. Winco.
Oh, Winco's on there?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, shout out.
Known for one of the largest, most reasonably priced bulk aisles in the business, Winco stores are brimming over with affordable store brand goods. The chain has been a lifesaver for cash-strapped shoppers on the West Coast.
I will say,
a true friend in tight times.
I will say that their prices, like Bob's Red Mill oatmeal, like at New Seasons, $8.99, at Winco, $3.50, and I'm like, what? It's literally the exact same product.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
which is why they do things like they can't take credit cards, because it's all like cutting all those overhead costs.
Right. How much does it cost to be 24 hours a day?
Yeah. Trader Joe's.
Mixed feeling, but okay.
Publix. Oh yeah, I know Publix.
Oh, I know Publix. How do we know that? Is that the South?
I think in Arizona. Isn't that the store near?
Oh, yeah.
It's funny they say at Publix, it's famous for its sandwiches, including the Havana Bold and the chicken cordon bleu.
Okay.
We were just hearing about the cordon bleu from a gas station that everyone loves in Wisconsin.
Gas station chicken cordon bleu was the name of my music project in college.
Costco is number 10.
I can get down with Costco.
I mean, yeah, Costco we also do. It's so complicated. We have like a Costco, Winco, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, New Seasons,
Fred Meyer's,
like whatever the number is, trifecta, sixfecta,
a quinfecta.
quinfecta.
Yeah, it's a tangled web. I mean, it's tough when you're like, okay, we're really not going to eat out. And then you're like, well, if we're not going to eat out, we're going to get the groceries that we want and cook everything. But yeah, it's
hard.
It is hard.
Okay, we can wrap up.
All right. Enough, Erin.
Yeah.
I'm cutting you off.
Sorry, I could talk about grocery stores all day.
No, I love talking about grocery stores. I feel like there's some sort of draft we can do for our Patreon about grocery stores.
Okay.
Could we really just draft apartments at the grocery store? Man, it would be quickly contested.
Oh, I could draft apartments.
All right. I feel like we should do departments specific to certain stores, too.
Oh, I found a list of the best local grocery store by for your state.
And that's the end of our podcast tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I am excited that I learned more about grocery stores.
I'm excited that I learned more about the Pro Disc Golf Tour.
Yeah. It's very fun. And now you know about it.
Now I know.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Have you ever transcended space and time?
Yes. No. Time, not space. No, I don't know what you're talking about.